Okay, so that last video went pretty well. I'm gonna shoot another. Um, this video is about, something that I've said that I was gonna make quite a while ago. So it's past due. I gotta do it. So this video is about physical safety. How do you avoid injuries and environmental hazards? This because of the need to transpose this idea in so many occupations and circumstances. I'm not going to be going through every possible practical measure. Like that's just the dumbest thing. Um, I yeah, I won't even I won't even address that idea further. It's ridiculous. Um, Now, mind you, risks when it comes to matters of risk and stuff, it's not always about avoiding the risk. I mean, I understand some risks are unnecessary and stuff, but it's about managing them and managing the aftermath of the damage and stuff because sometimes you just can't avoid it, but it's just so important to get uh, to attain what's behind all of that trial and tribulation. When you learn how to manage risk effectively or answer the aftermath of a negative decision, you become way more effective and your life is much better off. As some helpful wisdom from a 34-year-old. Ugh, I need to lay off this apple juice. Jesus Christ. I'm not going to have any room to drink water. And yeah. Oh, it's so tasty though. Mm. Okay, so let's talk about physical safety. What are the reasons why people get injured? Broken bones, cuts, facial bruises, that things like that. One, bodies of flight and motion. When you have a loose this loose bodies of flight and motion, this is the area where almost everybody tends to just not have an answer. Yes, people can catch a baseball or a football and stuff, but when they're being thrown into the air, well, 9 times out of 10, they're probably just going to take it on the side of their head or just like land with all of their weight on their shoulder and stuff. Not everybody's like a Division 2, Division 1 wrestler, the Marine Corps wrestler and stuff, where they know how to handle this type of a thing. Um, and not everybody knows how to handle when it's something like, I don't know, a car hitting a traffic pole and flipping, or somebody on their motorbike, which I've seen before a few times. Um, I flipped over my bicycle pretty bad when I was a kid in the third grade. I ended up with a nice golf ball uh, sized uh, bruise on my head over here. Um, yeah, uh, that that was pretty bad. So, another thing, rapid violent movement. We often get the urge to just hurry up and do things quickly, but if you're not in really, really, really good shape, that rapid violent movement is probably going to pull too hard on a tendon or ligament or a muscle and stuff, which is going to impair your ability to concentrate and function. Um, Doing this a lot over time as well would actually run the risk of wearing down ligaments and tendons to the point where you get a pretty bad sprain, or even worse, tear that ligament. And ligaments take a long time to heal because they have little to no blood supply to get any healing materials from the body. So, not knowing how to fight. Sometimes people force the fight upon you. They try to shove you. They pull things out on you. They bring up their fists and stuff. You have to know how to answer that. I don't care if I don't care if you run at 50 miles an hour or you punch at 1,000 miles an hour or whatever. You know, you gotta learn something effective that's gonna work, and you gotta stay out of those neighborhoods and areas where that stuff happens. And of course, you have to be conscious not to poke the bear around people and stuff because you don't know who's crazy. Moving faster than sight or thought. I mean, this is really obvious when verbalized and stuff, but this is something a lot of people do. I see this very often I've seen this too often in my life. I'm 34. I've seen it probably 50 times already. Um, Lack of energy. Yeah, your energy level dictates how quickly you can process information. And so, the lower your energy is, the faster everything looks around you, and the more motion blur you're going to see. Um, it's and The slower you're going to be to react. That basically makes you a dead duck when it comes to matters of physical safety. Um, Which takes me to this part: inadequate cardiac performance and energy store. Um, if you're somebody that doesn't store up energy or doesn't train cardio at least once a day, you're a dead duck. It's going to drop your processing speed, and it's going to make it more easy to get hurt because you won't react in time to prevent, that fall or that flying object or whatever from hurting you. Laziness. Yeah, laziness creates physical weakness and stuff. You have um, you have you're supposed to have time every day to rest, so you have more energy, and you don't need to loaf around and sit around and stuff all the time. Um, you should always be doing something during waking hours. Um, in the ideal case, I understand some people have a medical situation. Um, yeah. So, lack of self-esteem, low self-worth, or self-hate. Yeah, the silent killer is that internalized self-hate that a lot of people have. A lot of people hate themselves, look down on themselves for no reason, um, and they, uh, they just want to discard themselves. They think they're worthless because other people view them that way, and um, it's unfortunate. But some people, they they uh, they see themselves through others instead of just seeing themselves. You have to learn how to see yourself, and if you have a reason to have a self-esteem problem, um, it's better to just be your own best friend and understand that um, there are greener pastures potentially for a better version of you. Yeah. Not inspecting as you do. Yes, this is like an unwritten rule of life. As you do, inspect, and as you inspect, do and stuff. Don't just say I'm gonna do this and do it. It's the recipe for disaster. Um, Good example is people who use angle grinders on to cut very hard things um, without safety glasses. Yeah, those are bodies of flight and motion you can't answer. You got to address it a different way. Um, Learning how to self-harm, training in self-harm, reward punishment track. So life is, um, and our daily activities are rife with these pre-designed user experiences that punish and reward certain behaviors and stuff. When we transpose this idea to other areas of life, we find areas where we're actually trained to set ourselves up to fail. Um, we're we're encouraged and compelled to do that um, because we uh, we're we've created some sense of authority that we're supposed to fear. It's just like a natural human psychological thing, and um, but getting into the habit of being used to that and stuff it makes you a dead duck. um, Ignoring medical advice or not getting help, allostatic load issues. Yeah, if you're one of those people that are like, oh, I don't need to see a doctor, I feel fine, then you are discounting. Um, you probably don't know what your liver's doing or whatever, and um, yeah, you probably and when it comes to doctors and stuff, um, I have to tell you, you must respect the terms of care. Um, oh, okay, so I already. Huh. I could just skip this part where we already talked about that. Emotionally governed personality. Yeah, if you're a very emotional person, if you can't tell the difference between whether you're comprehending things and analyzing things accurately, or whether you have a grip on reality or not, or accurately recalling the past or not, whatever, or um, then you're a dead duck. You know, you're gonna end up crashing your car or something. Um, Sorry, see you around. you know, Misleadability. Um, Yeah, I mean, if you're the type of person who doesn't question what they hear, take things with a grain of salt. Um, if you don't know how to pretend to agree with people, then you're fucked. Sorry. Um, Bad with attention to detail. We talked about this. There's another video on this about inattentive people on this channel. I recommend that one. And not being aware of the load on your body or relative numbness. Oh my God. So your nerves are actually not going to pick up everything that's going on in your body. You might feel like a certain weight at the gym or something is a proper weight, but um, you don't know how much you're supposed to be feeling or what you're supposed to be feeling necessarily against a point of reference. That's the key thing. This is um, your own subjective awareness is not a full point of reference, and without that point of reference to affirm or deny details from a an objective, you know, unchanging factual base that can act as well a reference, then you are a dead duck. You're you know you are going to sprain something pretty bad. You could snap something. Um, you you know you could end up falling over onto onto some rocks or whatever. You just don't, like, so many different things can happen. So yeah, be aware of how much you're holding or carrying when you're holding it, and understand the areas of your body where you're going to feel more and feel less and stuff, because those are the areas that you're going to naturally discount more. Those are areas you need a point of reference for. Um, Ah, and the other thing, environmental hazards. These factors harm the resiliency, strength, etc., and other qualities of the psyche and physical health, along with personality. They cause oxidative stress by adding to allostatic load, which is a very general medical measure of health. Allostatic load is, in medicine, is how they measure how messed up you are. So, um, you know, other people in the wrong neighborhood and toxic people. If you live in a bad neighborhood, it's better to just, yeah, you gotta just stay away. Kids, honestly. Um, Blue light, yeah, this absolutely wrecks your brain, and energy levels, um, wrecks your personality too, for that reason. Um, Loud noise and sensory pollution, including bright lights, harsh chemicals. Um, I recommend using natural soaps and other things that are way more gentle but still effective. Um, Pathogens, yeah, of course. Bacteria and viruses, they're everywhere. You can't see them macroscopically, but they can badly mess you up in ways that you might not necessarily feel or see. They work more pervasively. Sometimes they just work in your subconscious and they erupt, and it just feels like a mood change or something, or you just feel off kilter, but within normal tolerances that you're used to, so you don't pick it up until it's too late. Um, Cat owners, a lot of cat owners tend to go through this the whole crazy cat lady stereotype. A lot of that has to do with the effects of toxoplasma on the brain, um, and how it can lead to things like delusional episodes and other things that compromise the attention that could be traced back to pathogens. Um, Nonsensical information, yeah, yeah, that includes things like social media. You know, the things people say and post on social media have no that are completely nonsensical, distracting. Those things are just they're just junk in your brain. You don't need it. Um, and try and paying attention to it at all is just it's an expense of time and energy. Um, Disruptions, yeah, those are bad for your brain too. They should be considered an environmental hazard. Sharp objects, naturally, and topographical hazards like long falls, of course. Um, so yeah, so these are the things that compromise your safety, um, and either directly or indirectly and stuff. So we talked about, because we talked about psychological hazards too, that lead up to that can eventually lead up to physical injury, just by putting you on a different path. Um, I feel like I fairly addressed this, and yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I feel like I've done well enough here. Um, I feel that enough people have gotten injured, and I would like to do my part in informing people there.